Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Karnath. I am an architect and I work as a senior enclosure technical designer at Walter P. Moore. Um, my professional background is more in computational design and creating buildings that have complex geometry, but I'm currently really interested in working on decarbonizing the built environment through better design, better data, and collective action. Uh, I'm also one of the co-founders of the Los Angeles Hub of the Carbon Leadership Forum, which is an organization dedicated to reducing the embodied carbon emissions of the built environment. So that's part of what I'm going to talk with you guys about today. So next slide. I'm going to frame my talk around my climate action Venn diagram, which was inspired by a recent episode of the podcast, How to Save a Planet. So the idea is that the work that you need to be doing needs to be at the center of these three bubbles. What problem needs solving, what work needs to be done, what am I good at, what skills can I bring to the table to solve this problem, and finally, what brings me joy so I can keep working on it. So the building sector is responsible for about half of global carbon emissions, and part of that's from building operations, and the other part of it that is less talked about until recently is carbon emissions from the manufacture of building materials and construction. So that's what's known as embodied carbon. Um, so as architects, designers, and engineers, we've put a lot of effort into reducing the operational energy use of buildings in blue in the center of this diagram. But a building's life story is much larger than that, beginning with the extraction, transportation, and manufacturing of building materials, the construction of the building, and then once the building has reached the end of its life, the deconstruction and disposal of those building materials. And all of those pieces of a building's life story are responsible for carbon emission. And some of these other pieces have maybe not been talked about or not been looked at in as much detail until quite recently. So I've identified the problem of embodied carbon and reducing those impacts as the problem that I really want to work on. Um, The next thing I wanted to think about is what am I good at? What are my skills? What can I bring to the table to help solve this problem? So to reduce embodied carbon in our building designs, we need better data so that we can make better design choices, better material choices. What are the materials we're using? How much of them are we using? What are the impacts of each? And what can we do to reduce those impacts by making different choices, by using less? So my background in computational design means that I'm really good at leveraging data to inform design. So I'm transferring that skill set to this work. And the final piece is what really brings me joy? What do I want to do every day so I don't burn out on doing this work? And what I really love doing is building community and working with other really smart people who are interested in solving these problems and sharing knowledge. So the center of my climate action Venn diagram is the work that I've been doing over the last year with the LA hub of the Carbon Leadership Forum, which I said is an organization dedicated to reducing embodied carbon emissions in the building industry through collective action. So I've had the privilege of working with a really great group of people to launch this hub over the last year. We've been bringing together people to learn and share knowledge that we can all take back and use in our practice every day to achieve real emission reductions. Um, so there's a role for each and every one of us in the construction industry to play in addressing climate change, and we can all have a greater impact by working together than any of us can have on our own. Thank you.